Last year we did 827 crores. This year we hopefully will close at definitely north of 1,000 crores and hopefully keep improving our profit margins every year by a few percentage points.
Hi Abhiraj, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So Abhiraj, the idea of this chat is rise of India's digital economy. And as the name suggests, we're trying to just make sense of all that is happening, right? I want to understand from your lens, what does the word internet economy mean to you today? And how do you just look at everything around?
That's a good question. So, when I started Urban Company in 2014, the internet economy was just taking off in India. And in the last decade, a lot has happened. Um, as part of some of my work with CII, we recently published a report along with McKinsey to look at the landscape. And what we realized was that there are more than 800 million internet users today. Um, the internet economy has received over $150 billion in FDI, which represents nearly 20% of all FDI in India in the last decade. There have been about 1.2 to 1.3 crore jobs that have gotten created. 50 million plus SMEs and MSMEs are associated with this economy. And consumers have really, all our lives today are governed by Digital India, the digital stack, whether it's, booking movie tickets or railway tickets or flight tickets, ordering food, groceries, services. It's hard to imagine life, particularly in urban India, without the internet. At the same time, I think we're just, seeing the start of multi-decade technology and internet revolution in India, which will hopefully give equal opportunity to every citizen.
If I have to sort of understand the trajectory of any digital business, I think the launch of 4G was a eureka moment, right? That coupled with affordable smartphones that have come in. What do you think has been the major catalyst in urban companies' journey?
I would say it's to start with definitely when we started the smartphone revolution that took off in India. More smartphones got sold in 2014 than the previous decade. And, ours is a business which is a very hyperlocal connected business. So you need both sides to be on a smart device, a smartphone. And there was always this question when we were getting started as to whether the plumbers and cleaners and carpenters of India will have, smartphone adoption, and will they be able to adopt this new technology? What we found was that there was never any challenge. Right from the get-go, every person that we met to onboard as a service partner in Urban Company already had a smartphone. They were already, in many ways, they were very digitally native. They were taking to smartphone technology like fish to water. And I think that was one big catalyst. I'd say the other big catalyst was the entire Digital India push by the government of India, particularly the digital stack and UPI. I think it made not just payments, but the entire ecosystem of digital adoption very, very available and accessible to every citizen. I would have to say that Geo and the data revolution that it brought out was also an interesting point. Don't think it impacted Urban Company as much directly, but many digital companies I know got created and took off at the back of the Geo movement. There have been many smaller catalysts along the way as well, but I would put these three as the major catalysts.
I think your answer is bang on. That really sums up how almost every digital business has been sort of catalyzed. So, Abhiraj, if I look at the business model strictly from a customer point of view,
Yes.
you are offering convenience at my doorstep, right? Why should, as a customer, I trust you? Why should a service professional trust you and choose you with her money, with her service? How did you crack this trust?
It's a very important question, and I think it's at the heart of essentially everything we do at Urban Company. We believe that trust is the most important currency to establish with both customers and partners. So, for customers, a lot of the trust is driven by the service professional, and therefore, we have to make sure that we have the right individuals who come on board and partner with us. For this, we do a very thorough background check. We train everyone, and they go through a mandatory training. We run now close to 200 plus training centers. We have an in-house team of 400 trainers, and all professionals are thoroughly trained in both technical skills and soft skills. And most importantly, we have a strong and tamper-proof rating system. And that rating system becomes a way for us to help our service partners continuously improve, undergo retrainings, undergo upgradations in their skill levels. So that becomes a very critical input that comes from the consumer. Similarly, on the service partner side, the journey for them, essentially why they want to partner with Urban Company, and almost 100% of the people who join us come through referral of somebody who's already on the platform. That journey is essentially a journey where Urban Company is promising them a transformation from an unorganized local service professional who might have been making just about 10,000-15,000 rupees a month, and who was part of the informal ecosystem in India, and the transformation to a formal, organized service professional, someone who makes a decent middle class wage. Our average earnings are between 25 to 30,000 net. Many partners make a lot more. Top 20% make about 43,000. Everybody gets a free life insurance, accidental insurance, health insurance cover from the company. They get a certain degree of respect by being associated with Urban Company. So that's the reason why they choose to trust us. And all of these benefits are attested for them by an existing service professional who they know, who's already on the platform.
I think in terms of major accomplishments for the brand, 4-digit revenue, probably an IPO very soon, profitability, overseas expansion. What is the North Star metric for you as a founder?
I think for me, the North Star metric is really around consumer love and making sure that consumers see us as a company and a platform that is simplifying their life, making their lives easier and better, and that the services they get from our platform are services they truly love and not just like. And that's a high bar, and we work very hard internally to meet that bar. We're constantly thinking about new ways to innovate in service delivery, innovate in the tooling and the products, innovate in the offering, the SKUs. We're constantly thinking of mechanisms to enable and empower our service partners, because we believe that happy service partners essentially lead to happy consumers. And I think we're still very early. I mean, these numbers that you spoke about, in my view, these are still very small numbers. So I think, the industry is very large. The opportunity for us is humongous. We are at the cusp of completing a decade, but from my lens, I really think we've only gotten our act together as a company post-COVID. So in some sense, I still think we're very, very young and very nascent in our journey. I think the real question is, over the next 10 years, can we become a 10,000 crore company or even larger? I think the market opportunity is there. We would certainly like to do that, and more importantly, we would like to become an institution that is known as a very important company in India.
If I talk about the brand in pure number terms, you're an 800 crore revenue plus company marching towards 1,000 crores. You plan to do an IPO in the next 1 or 2 years. Today, if you have to break down the unit economics for us, 100 रुपए के order value में who earns how much, and how do we look at that?
So you're right. Last year we did 827 crores. This year we hopefully will close at definitely north of 1,000 crores, hopefully closer to 1,100 crores. This is our revenue that we recognize as in our books of accounts, not the GMV which the consumer pays. So let's say the consumer pays 100 rupees for a service. Typically we keep about 25 and the service professional gets 75. We also make an incremental 5 or 6 rupees through sale of products and tools. So that gets us to about 30. So for 1,000 crores, the equivalent GMV would be about 3.5 to 4,000 crores. From this, our gross margin is around, varies from category to category, but blended average for the platform would be north of 75%, and contribution margin would be north of 55%. We've always made money from the get-go on both a contribution as well as a gross level. We've recently turned profitable at a net margin level. Our profit before tax for the April, May, June quarter was a little over 4% at a consolidated level. India was much higher. India was in double digits, and we're still in investment mode in a few overseas markets, which I expect over time will turn profitable. But I think as a consolidated company now, we will continue to march on the path of profitability and hopefully keep improving our profit margins every year by a few percentage points.
What is the challenge you are specifically working on for the next 3 years?
Look, I think the biggest challenge and the most underappreciated part of our business is that it's a very sum of parts business. So we actually offer services across about 20 to 25 different categories. And each category has a unique supply pool. What I mean by that is, for example, plumbing, carpentry, and electricals are three separate categories with three separate supply pools of plumbers, carpenters, and electricians. Add to that the complexity of us operating in a very hyperlocal environment, which means we break a city down into micro markets. Delhi NCR, for example, has nearly 50 micro markets. Pan India, across the 50 plus cities that we operate in, we're operating between 1,500 to 2,000 micro markets. So you actually have to balance supply and demand across maybe 25 supply pools or 25 trades on the y-axis and 2,000 micro markets on the x-axis.
I think it's very interesting what you just highlighted, and the overall government's vision also with the skill India mission, that compared with the training programs that you just highlighted, that's actually at the core of solving for the supply side.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Just one final question, Abhiraj. As an entrepreneur, is there any problem statement you think other entrepreneurs or potential founders are not spending enough time on? You want people to really, pick that difficult question and try and solve that.
Yeah. Sort of large scale transformation of the Indian economy, large scale job creation, and also large scale entrepreneurship at scale. We will really have to crack manufacturing over the next decade and more. I think there are challenges in terms of the current infrastructure that is available, the current regulation of the land, skill set of the individuals, aspiration of people, which is far more towards white collar jobs versus being on a shop floor. That said, I think the world has taught us that for countries to evolve from low income to middle income and eventually high income, create hundreds of millions of jobs and bring hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. Manufacturing your way to to become an export-led economy is probably one of the few answers. And I think we have that opportunity. I think we have a fantastic demographic dividend. The world is anyways talking about China plus one. And I am seeing increasingly many younger entrepreneurs now not shying away from setting up a manufacturing-led startup, which 10 years back, when some of us were starting, would have been out of the question. So I think there's a huge opportunity there to create world-class products from India. Huge opportunity to stand for quality, stand for globally competitive products, and in many ways it'll also transform brand India.
Thank you so much, Abhiraj. I think it was a wonderful chat, and thank you for being so honest about it.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Thank you.